Hello everyone, good day. In this video, we're going to talk about the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. But before anything else, let's take a look back first on the era of American modernism before delving with the poem, so that we can get some overview what are the things or the themes being talked about in this period. Let's start. First, what is modernism? So, modernism is a literary movement that rejected the predictable styles of the 19th century, and it emerged around the early 90s and continued until the 1940s. The key point to remember here is that we say modernism, the writers or the poets didn't follow the traditional rules when creating a literary piece. Instead, they experimented or they switched into more innovative ways or styles when creating their works. And it focuses more on individualism, wherein they have the freedom to make any kinds of styles they want. When they do any kind of works, they do any kind of literary piece. And commonly, the modernist writers here avoided straightforward storytelling and instead explored the fragmentation of society, especially after the trauma of World War I. And this reflected how broken and uncertain the world felt during this time. Especially during the World War I, it really creates a disorganized society. And that's where the individualism more occurs. And it's more evident during that time. That's why writers or poets during the time really um, focused more on their lives or other people's lives, but focus more on one individual. Now, moving on to the key characteristic of American modernism. First, we have all the scholars differ on the exact timeline. Most agree modernism began in the late 19th century, 1880s, and lasted until the mid 1940s. And the world experienced massive transformations during this era. Events like war, industrialization, and the rise of global communication changed how people saw themselves and their place in the society. And as mentioned before or earlier, I've really talked about that the main reason why modernism was really occurred, it's because of the World War One, and that causes the massive or great impact on individuals' life, wherein they really switch into more individuality, individuality style of living, and also style of writing. Additionally, writers reacted to these changes by breaking away from traditional storytelling. Instead of clear, linear narratives, they wrote stories that were fragmented, showing the disconnection and confusion felt in a rapidly changing world. We learned a moment ago that this period marked a major shift in literature, especially in poetry. That's why I'm going to give you the four famous American modernist poets that experimented new ways regarding with the happenings around their society, especially the industrialization, the war, and also the alienation happened. So first we have Ezra Pound. She is known for creating bold, innovative poetry. Second, we have E. Cummings, famous for playing with language and structure. Third, we have Edna St. Vincent Millay, a leading voice for exploring emotions and societal rules. And lastly, we have Carl Sandburg, focused on themes of modern life and industrialization. Now let's move on with The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. By the way, this poem was created in 1916, and we're going to analyze each stanza for better understanding. Let's start. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So in the first stanza, the speaker begins with describing a moment in his life where he comes across two diverging roads in a yellow forest during autumn and he stands at the crossroads for a long time, carefully looking down one path as far as he can. However, the road eventually disappears into the bushes, making it impossible for him to know where it leads. So in our life, it really represents often situations where we must make important decisions without knowing what the future holds. Second stanza. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. So right here, the speaker decided to take the other road, which he thinks looks more appealing because it's grassy and appears less traveled. So at first, he convinces himself that this path is better and unique, as if fewer people have taken it. However, as soon as he realizes that both are roads actually quite similar, with no major differences between them. So it really changes his um, point of view. So in our life, it really suggests that choices may seem distinct at first, but when we reflect, they are often not as different as we thought. Next, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. So the speaker here notices that the boat roads are covered in fresh untouched leaves, meaning no one has walked on either path that morning. So that's why he decides to take one path, but tells himself that he will return one day to try the other road. However, he immediately doubts this because he knows how one decision in life leads to another, making it unlikely that he will come back. So in life, it really highlights or show that how choices we make often set us on path we cannot easily change or revisit. It's always gonna be always choosing one. So we cannot take back what we already did. So every decision, we must be vigilant on creating it and choosing what we really love because, again, we cannot go back time. And as well as our choices. Okay, fourth stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So in this last stanza, so the speaker right here imagines himself and the future telling the story with a sigh, perhaps of satisfaction or maybe of regret. He repeats the image of the two diverging roads and reflects that he took the one less traveled by. So this choice, he says, has made all the difference. And right here, the speaker expresses himself that the decisions we make, even seemingly small ones, shape the course of our lives. Whether the outcome is positive or negative is left for us to interpret, but it reminds us of the significance of our choices overall. Now, let's try to look for the overall idea so that we'll gain more deeper understanding for this. And for you to summarize all the happenings in the poem, here's the overall idea. The speaker reflects on a time when he had to make a choice between two paths in the woods. He carefully chose one and convinced himself it was the better option. Even though both were nearly the same, while he hoped he might return to explore the other path someday, he knew deep down that life doesn't often allow us to go back. Years later, he imagines himself reflecting on that choice and realizing how important it was in shaping his life. And the poem uses the roads as a metaphor for the decisions we faced, reminding us that every choice we make leaves on a mark on our journey, and we will always wonder about the path we didn't take. So there is a regret here because although you already made a decision, there is left behind. There's a decision that left behind that you didn't make it. But again, we cannot go back in time. It is what it is. Now, for the characters, we have first the speaker, and he represents every individual faced with life decisions. He symbolizes a person navigating uncertainties of life. Second, we have the two roads. So, although the two roads there in the poem is not actually the physical characteristic of human, so it somewhat acts as symbols or metaphors as well. So they represent choices in life and the uncertainty of where those choices may lead. For the themes, we have four main themes present in the poem. The first one we have choices and decisions. So why can we say choices and decisions? It's because the speaker faced with two paths, right? And he must choose one only, knowing he cannot take both. So this reflects how decisions shape lives and often leading to irreversible consequences. So you need to take choices or decision and you cannot take two decisions. Second, we have regret and reflection. So in the last part, the speaker reflects on the path that he did not choose and wonders what might have happened if he had taken it. And of course, this can really show that human as we are, there are a tendency that we have decisions and imaginations that alternate outcomes, which can lead to feelings of regret or curiosity. And despite not taking the other road, he also didn't know what will happen to him if he also did not, right? So that's it. And next one we have individualism. So individualism. So the speaker claims he took the road less traveled, which highlights the value of individuality and taking unconventional paths. So this also shows the modernist idea of rejecting tradition and embracing uniqueness in one's choices. And lastly, we have uncertainty in life. So the poem portrays life as unpredictable. And when we make decisions, we cannot always see where they will lead. This uncertainty is a hallmark of the modernist period as well, as people struggled to find meaning in a changing world. That's it for the themes. Moving on with the cultural context. Now, for the last part, we're going to talk about the cultural context of the poem. The first, we have the post-industrialization and World War One. As mentioned earlier, so industrialization had really transformed their society, and the World War One caused devastation and delusionment to the people. And people were questioning traditional values, leading to feelings of uncertainty and alienation, and that causes them to create individualized style of works. Second, we have the rise of individualism. Oh my god, I've always mentioned this. So, modernist literature often focused on the individual, rather than the society as a whole. So the speaker in the poem emphasizes his personal decisions or choices to take the road less traveled. And this reflects the desire to find individual meaning in life. Although there are regrets, but he is the one who made choice, so nothing is involved, no other people is involved. That's why it's still the rise of individualism. Next, the third one, we have the rejection of tradition. So I've mentioned it also that the writer or poets right here didn't follow the traditional rules and switches to invented, experimented way or style in writing. So in modernist period, that's what they are. That's the switching. And right here in the poem, it tackles about the life's ambiguity and avoids offering a clear answer. That's why it appears that the two paths appear similar, and yet the speaker imposes meaning onto his choice, mirroring how individuals in the fragmented world search for the purpose. Next, the last one, we have the freedom of choice. So in America during this period, the idea of American dream encouraged individuals to carve out their own unique path. And this idea is reflected in the speaker's choice of which road to take, symbolizing independence and personal agency. It's just the same to the rise of individual, actually. Yeah, just the same. Okay, so I guess that's all for this topic. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.